Unfortunate family, we got to talk about it. All right. When it comes to the Eagles, I am supremely satisfied with being 4 0. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm very grateful to be 4 0. It is not easy to win games in the NFL, especially 4 straight against first your division rival, your Super Bowl rival, playoff rival, and another playoff team that had your number. So, congratulations to the Eagles, to our Eagles for that. You know what I mean? Being undefeated, I do, appreciate that, and I understand how hard it is to do that, especially with away games, and we don't have any back-to-back home games, and going all the way down to Tampa, where it was scorching hot, you know. And Todd Bowles is Todd Bowles, great coach, great defensive mind of our time, and he's always had, an answer for Jalen Hurts. Mind you, we didn't have AJ for some of those games, and I think one of those games at least, maybe two, and I think did we have Devontae without one of those games too? Whatever, but we weren't fully there, and that we're undefeated when Jalen, Saquon, Devontae, and AJ play together. Saying all that, what's going on with AJ Brown is extremely concerning because it's a combination of the offense not getting him involved and scheming him up enough, and him getting emotional about it and not putting forth, a supreme effort. And I'm not going to get on AJ that much about that, even though that can be interpreted as unprofessional, but it's also very understandable. And it's understandable because he is a premier talent, and he's the reason why we became a Super Bowl contender. We were not a Super Bowl contender before we got A.J. Brown. We got A.J. Brown, and then the next year, was that the same draft? We got Devontae Smith? No. We got Devontae Smith, then we got A.J. Brown the next year. So, like I'm saying, before AJ made us a Super Bowl contender. AJ is the reason. We went to the Super Bowl before we got Saquon. And if it wasn't for a costly turnover, we would have won that Super Bowl. And that was without Saquon. So the turning point for the Eagles, what took us over the top, was A.J. Brown. And it still is A.J. Brown. We wouldn't have won last year without A.J. Brown. Just him as a distraction because of all the attention he gets is very valuable to any team, especially ours. Saying that, he deserves the full attention of the offense. He is so dynamic. It's not like he's just, a guy out there who makes catches and, does his thing. He won us that game against LA. We don't win that game. We don't come back without him, period. And, for us not to get him involved immediately. I mean, every first down, the first and second down should be one to Devontae, one to AJ. And then you could throw one to Goddard. Then you give it to Saquon. And, you know what I mean? Giving Saquon the ball on first down, second down, we should be passing first, running second, because we use the tush push. So even if Saquon only gets close enough to the line, we can always tush push. But we need to pass the ball earlier and often to AJ Brown, any which way we can. We need to come up, like I said before in my last video, we need to come up with trick plays, man. We need some trick plays. Like, we ran a fake tush push against Tampa Bay in the red zone, and Saquon scored, and that was great. But AJ's a big guy. Send him up the middle, slants up the middle. That's what he does his thing. Let him catch the ball up the middle, and let him do his thing. You know what I mean? He can take the hits. He can take the, you know, that type of physicality. So we need to scheme up something, man. I don't know what's up with Kevin Patullo, man. I really don't understand why I think there's a lot of egos involved, Jalen included. I think there's a lot of ego involved. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but for the last couple of years, there's been some tension between him and AJ, unfortunately. And they homies. I mean, shit, Jalen was there when AJ got drafted. You know what I'm saying? Like, they boys, and, or they were. I don't know what's going on now. But at the end of the day, something has to change. Something has to give, because you can't waste away a man's years. Like, this is the NFL. The NFL stands for not for long. Let's be honest, man. And, I know AJ's getting paid a great amount, as he should, because he deserves it. Like I said, he's the reason we won this Super Bowl. He's a big reason. You know what I mean? Like I said, he's the reason we became a Super Bowl contender. So, he's been classy with it, too. I know he's got his little things here and there, reading a book and doing that, passive aggressive, but he has all the right to be aggressive. He has all the right to say, yo, what the hell are we doing? But he has to do his part too. But I get it, man. You're running a whole bunch of routes, you're blocking, you're doing all this work, and you ain't getting no benefits from it. Because it's like, all right, cool. That's why I say there's egos involved and pride, because it's like, all right, cool, I'm getting paid, I'm getting the money, but I ain't getting the shine. And he sees, guys that he probably feels like he's better than get shine. Get the 99 status on that and things of that nature, and get the interviews and all that. And, I'm not saying, that's what it's about, but that's what it's about too. That's a part of the distraction of sports, is that the players are famous, and, you know what I mean? And when you're dealing in those, when you're hobnobbing in that universe of celebrity, you want to stand out and all that stuff, and you want to be regarded as, looked up and revered as one of the best in your craft. And he is. But it's not showing. And then if you want to get even technical, I don't think Howie will ever do this to him, but you never know. Business is business. It's not personal. When he come to the table looking for a re-up, like, yo, you know what I mean? Looking to, get a new contract or get an extension, they going to go off of his numbers. Hopefully they don't, but this is business. And if your numbers ain't there, they don't care how important you are to the team. Outside of the stats. So, you put those two things together, wanting to, one, shine and be, a popular player and celebrity in the entertainment world, and two, wanting to be able to get the full value of your talent for your contracts, you have to produce. And he only could do so much because he's a receiver. It takes, his quarterback to, get the ball to him. Now, saying that, Jalen has work to do. Jalen can always improve when it comes to, being a more consistent passer. I'm not saying he's not a good passer. He throws dots. He really does. He's the number one quarterback in the NFL right now. He really is. And that's because he finds every which way to win. He'll run on your ass. He'll tush push. Tush push is not an easy play for the quarterback. You got to be a strong man to do that. They put him in a fire with those tush pushes. I'm tired of them too. That's why I'm glad we did the fake and give to Saquon, because those tush pushers are damaging, man. They take a toll after a while. He passes the ball, he does his thing, but he has to do a better job of seeing the field. It's plenty of times where he's one direction. You know, he has to look at his options and his reads more, and you know, pick a place apart. Now, saying that about Jalen, our offensive line has been okay this year, and that's the truth. That's the truth. Nobody wants to talk about it because we come into this season with the best offensive line in football, and I still think we do have the best offensive line in football, but we have not been playing like the best offensive line in football, and that's the facts. And if you don't give your quarterback time to do his thing, it's only so much he can do. So it's a combination of Jalen doing what he has to do and finding his reads properly, and also that line protecting him, because they have been doing an okay job, mediocre, average at best right now, and nobody wants to talk about it. But yeah, they're not putting motherfuckers in the dirt like they usually do, and giving Jalen the time to do what he has to do to make the right throw. Because when you do give him time, he can do his thing. Now, the biggest elephant in the room is Kevin Patullo. Kevin, my man, you have to say fuck it. Now, it's hard. See, it's hard to say fuck it because you're winning, you're undefeated, and Jalen doesn't have a lot of turnovers. So, you know, being safe than sorry isn't bad advice and a bad way to be, but life equals risk. Everybody that's in the NFL, including you, got there because you put up a certain amount of risk. Your quarterback alone, you see how many risks he took. He risked coming back after being benched. He risked going all the way to Oklahoma. You know, he's done a lot. So you got to understand there's a certain amount of risk in life, and risk that life takes. And you got to say, fuck, Jalen might throw some, if he got to throw a couple of interceptions for us to score 50 yesterday, like we should have scored 50 on the Bucks. If Jalen Hurts would have had, 260 yards with 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, fuck it. I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? Because, at least the game's out of hand. At least, and more on top, we're giving our defense a break, man. Like you ain't even helping our defense out, man. Our defense can't even get a break. You know how dangerous it is to play that long, at that weight, with all that equipment on, in the sun? And they ain't got no time to fucking breathe because our defense is 3 and out. Our offense is 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Come on, man. We got to be better, bro. And I know we undefeated, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We got to be better, man. You know what I mean? So I love my squad. I always will love my squad. You know what I mean? I make these videos to get it real because, a lot of that bull crap be out there. With the media, they only can say certain things or whatever. There's a lot of haters out there. There's a ton of haters, Motherfuckers hate us. But anyway, God bless them. You already know the deal. Go Birds.